My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. And today is December 17th, 2024. Sorry, I didn't mean to move ahead too fast. We are at Riviera Beach Preparatory Achievement and Academy, Riviera Beach. And I have several of my students with me today. Tyrell had to leave, but he helped us set the equipment up. I also have DeAndre and also Treasure. And I also have a couple of visitors, Sergeant Gonzalez and Sergeant Mason, as well as Mr. Lee. Gotcha. Okay, good. All right.
Raymond Levy.
Okay, Mr. Levy. And what city do you live in?
Point Beach.
Okay, and is that where you were born?
No.
No?
I was born in Skokie, Illinois.
Illinois, okay. How long have you lived in Florida?
About 12 years now.
Okay. What were you doing before you went into service?
I had just gotten out of high school. I was just kind of,
Where'd you grow up?
it's a complicated question. I went to 3 different high schools in 3 different states.
Okay, just before, okay, what branch of the service did you go in?
After I graduated high school, when I was 19, I joined the Marines.
Okay, and where were you at that time?
Then I was in Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Okay, all right. Is that where you sort of grew up, or?
That's where I did my senior year and just from 18 to 19, just for a couple of years.
Gotcha, okay. Thanks for coming in today for the interview, number one.
You're welcome.
So, branch of service again?
Marines.
Why'd you choose the Marines? What was your inspiration to become a Marine?
Honestly, I think it was just the few, the proud, the Marines. It was sort of that desire for the cream rising to the top.
Okay.
So just wanted to, if I was going to join the military, I wanted to join the most respected branch and toughest and all that other stuff.
Gotcha. Where was basic training?
That was
How old were you?
I'm sorry?
How old were you when you went in? What year did you go in?
I went in 1998.
And how long did you serve anyway? How many years before you separated?
4 years.
Okay. Went in 98?
Yeah, Parris
Okay.
Island.
Parris Island? How long was it? How long was basic?
I don't remember what it was now. I know it was longer than all the other services. I want to say 3 months, 4 months,
12,
3 months, something like that.
12, 16 weeks.
Something about that.
Did you do your AIT there also? Was that?
So after that, then you went to Marine Infantry training in, I believe it was North Carolina.
Okay. And so what was
I was 0811 Field Artillery.
Tell us about basic. How'd you get through it? How were your instructors? What were your peers like? What was the regimen like?
Well, it was, it was just one of those where obviously it was strictly regimented.
Mm-hmm.
Up at a certain time, down at a certain time, always following orders, snap to, running around. Really, you run around like a chicken with your head cut off first. And everyone's just yelling at you and you don't really know what's going on. You're very disoriented. And
Chaos.
It's chaotic. But you find out later there's a purpose to everything.
Right.
Every single thing that they did had a reason. So when they moved you in and out of buildings, you're out there in the heat for a few hours, and they bring you in here, and then you're out there for an hour. They were acclimating us.
They were what?
They were acclimating us.
Yeah, getting you used to that routine.
So that our bodies were acclimated to the weather, the heat.
Okay. So you said North Carolina was where AIT was?
Anyway, that was MIT, Marine Infantry training.
Okay. And what was that about? How did you get through it?
Every Marine goes through basic infantry training.
Mm-hmm.
And you get through things because you really don't have any other choice. I mean, what are you going to do?
Right.
The only way to not do it is to get yourself kicked out. So you don't have much of a choice. And then once you realize you don't have a choice, you just kind of accept it and say, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm doing now.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
So were there any casualties in basic or your AIT?
No, but I did see a guy get trench foot.
How did he manage that?
So he ended up wearing too many socks.
Oh, okay.
So people try to prevent their feet from getting blisters. And,
I'm just curious, what time, was it a lot of heat, or was it cold, or?
very hot.
It was hot.
He was trying to prevent blisters. He ended up in bed rest for weeks and weeks. His foot was black,
Wow.
black and blue.
Did he get through it?
Eventually,
Did he stay in the service?
yeah.
Okay, nice. So where was your first duty base?
So Fort Sill, Oklahoma was field artillery training. I don't know, a couple months there. I don't remember how long it was. It's been a while.
Okay.
And then got stationed in Camp Pendleton.
Okay. What was your MOS?
0811, that was our field artillery.
Field artillery. What kind of artillery did you handle? Ordnance?
It was large caliber, 155 millimeter towed artillery. So if you see news stories where they're reporting on war, a lot of times they'll show the artillery cannons, big as a truck, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I volunteered.
Okay, so you said you went in '98, so you got out in what, 2002?
That's right.
Okay. All right, so where was your first duty station?
Camp Pendleton.
Camp
California.
Pendleton. And how long were you there?
So that was about 3 years. We did a 6-month deployment, but so 2.5 to 3 years there.
Okay. And what state is Camp Pendleton in again?
California.
California, that's what I thought. Okay. So you said you deployed, but before we go into that, how was the food and your supplies up to this point? Feel like you had everything you needed?
Oh, excellent.
Everything was good?
Great barracks, really nice.
Okay, cool. So you said you deployed, so you were at Pendleton for about 3 years?
So so there was just a rotation that was called a Marine Expeditionary Unit where there's always a group of Marines and ships and things out there just kind of waiting for something to happen. So you go out there with all your equipment and everything like that, and if something happens, you're there to respond. If nothing happens, you go home.
Okay. And where did you deploy to?
Okinawa, Japan, and we got to visit Australia during that time as well.
All right. So what was Japan like?
Wonderful, great.
And how long how long were your deployments for?
Well, I mean, you spend some weeks traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I was in, several weeks from there and back to Australia, and then several months in Okinawa. I don't recall how many months. 3 months, 4 months. I think it was
And
something like that.
I sort of take it for granted that time it was pretty much peacetime?
Right.
Okay. So were you ever in combat?
No.
Okay. Not a complaint. So where did you travel while you were in the service? All the places that you already haven't mentioned. Where did you travel?
Portland. There's something called the Rose Festival in Portland.
In Oregon? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And the Navy shows off at ships. It's like a fleet week.
Mm-hmm.
And so a handful of Marines can go along. I was one of them. And that was a great experience representing the Corps, the Navy, walking around, meeting people, doing those types of things. Spent a lot of time in desert training. When we would go to the Marine Corps ball, that was in Las Vegas. So they would bring us out to Vegas
Okay.
and have a very formal function, and then you could go have fun. Like that.
What now?
Well, the Marine Corps ball, it's a ball.
Okay.
It's a very formal function.
Right,
And you're
right.
dressed blues, and that whole thing. And then after that, you can go have fun. You go hit the casinos and go have fun.
I was going to ask you, did you get any R&R in?
I did.
Yeah.
Always. There's always R&R.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. While you were in the service, did you ever have any problem, by the way, staying in touch with your family?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Medals and citations.
Not much. Meritorious unit citation, I think. Good conduct medal. Not a lot.
How did you stay in touch with your family? Telephone, letters, which? Internet?
Usually through phone. Occasionally I would write letters, just because they liked getting them.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
And the thing is, you didn't always have great reception. You're out there in the desert and you've got nothing to do, so you end up scribbling.
Okay. So I take it there weren't any casualties while you were stationed out there, or when you were overseas? Nobody got hurt?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware
Not
of.
that I was
Okay.
around.
Yeah, that's good enough. Did you use your GI Bill for anything?
Yeah,
For what?
ended up getting a bachelor's degree.
In?
Liberal arts, political science. I got an associate's degree in legal studies. So I went to community college, and then I went to University of Massachusetts.
Okay. What did you major in?
Liberal arts,
Liberal
political
arts, okay.
science is what I was after,
Got it, okay.
and law.
I'm curious, say like maybe halfway through your service, what was your plan going forward as far as, were you thinking about staying in the service, or what you were going to do when you got out?
So when I was in the Marines, I did not value what being a Marine was, and I was looking forward to getting out. I didn't like my job.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really motivated by that. I didn't have good perspective, so I was looking forward to getting out. 20 odd years later, I ended up re-enlisting, but now I'm in the Navy because I had the opportunity to get back in.
Right, yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, and that was the way I look at it, a second chance at a once in a lifetime opportunity. Because I was young and dumb then,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize that you can do things in the military you will never ever be able to do in the civilian world.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Like what?
You cannot get near the kinds of technology, the equipment, and the people,
Right.
because the caliber of people that are in the military are of a higher caliber than most of the people in the civilian world. And what I mean by that is, you are always looking after the person next to you, and it's not about money. 'Cause everyone's
Camaraderie.
yeah, you're not there for the money. You're never gonna get promoted by throwing somebody under the bus. You know.
Yeah.
So that the sense of camaraderie and the teamwork is what makes you successful in that environment. Where in the civilian world, oftentimes it's a more competitive competition nature culture inside workplaces.
Now, speaking of that, 2002, have you retained any of your friendships or connections with veterans since you left the service over all these
I
years?
wish I had, but no, those have been lost over the years.
Gotcha. Tell me two of your most memorable experiences while you were on duty. Well, I mean, while you were in the service.
Wow, that's a lot of memories.
Well, a couple. Give me a couple good ones.
Let's see. I was in Australia, and I was on fire watch, which means I was looking out for the enemy being at this time imaginary. And you're in these very, very tall grasses,
Mm-hmm.
and a kangaroo comes hopping by, and off it goes.
Did you box? Okay.
And I did not box the kangaroo,
I had to ask.
because they will win that match. But I realized, I remember thinking this, that's why kangaroos hop.
Why?
Because the grass is so tall,
Ah,
you can't walk through it.
okay. Oh, okay.
If you jump and they come down on top of it, you can move through it.
Right,
You can hop through it with these big feet that they got.
right.
You can't walk through it.
So did you, I'm afraid to ask the square mileage of this grass. Did you go through? Did you guys have to go through that?
No. It was,
Physically?
no, it was
No.
endless. And I was in artillery, so
Okay,
if it doesn't go on the truck, we're on trucks.
gotcha,
Yeah, we
gotcha,
drive.
gotcha. Okay, so that was one experience.
That was
Give
one
me-
experience.
Give me one. Give me another one.
Okay, let's see. How about, let's go back to boot camp.
Okay,
Let's go back all the way to the beginning,
that's fine.
where we had the highest rifle range score of any boot camp, every whatever the platoon it was, right? So we won the rifle range competition.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to us, right?
Yeah,
Big pats on the back, right?
there you go.
Wrong,
How did that turn
all
out?
right? So when we got back into the barracks, the drill instructors found some excuse to build what was called, I believe it was Mount Iwo Jima. And that was where we took all of our foot lockers and dumped them in the middle of the, dump everything you got.
The middle of
Dump
the
it.
barracks, in the middle of
Dump
the
it.
barracks.
And they did it because we were so happy. We were so proud of ourselves, right? And they shocked us once again. Come right back down.
So I'm curious, did they throw this, did they throw the stuff down in the barracks or did they throw it outside?
No, it wasn't outside. It was in
Okay.
they did it for two reasons.
Go
I
ahead.
later learned. You did it for two reasons.
Uh-huh.
One is to humble us,
Right,
but two, it was another exercise in teamwork because we all had to find each other's stuff, and we only had so much time to do it.
right, you had to work together.
We had to
get
work
that done.
together. So it was just things like that where, little things like that. Well, the reason I went back to the beginning is because those things are what stick with you forever.
Right,
Those moments where you realize, you know, you realize what's going on here.
okay, all right. So, when you separated, where were you?
I was in California.
Okay,
I went back to Massachusetts.
you went back to Massachusetts, and what did you do after the service?
Just went to college.
Okay, and you finished that liberal arts degree?
Mm-hmm.
And where
Yeah.
did that lead you?
It didn't really lead me anywhere.
Okay, so fill us in between the time you separated in 2002 to now. Bring us up to speed.
All right, so I was just tired of the cold, and I said I'm moving to Florida. I didn't know anybody. I had almost no money,
Mhm.
no family, no friends, but I had my sea bag and I had and a suitcase, and I just said I'm going to Florida. I picked Tampa. I stayed in Tampa for a few months at a hotel and hostels. I didn't like it there. Then I ended up going to Miami. At which point, I didn't have a job, so I just took a job. I took a job at a car wash, managing a car wash. The reason I became a manager of that car wash, though, was because I had submitted a resume, and on that resume it said I was in the Marines.
Okay.
And the owner of that car wash sat me down and he asked me to look at the place and notice anything amiss, anything out of place, whatever I would approve. And I just answered a couple questions or whatever. And then things I answered were just simple things like organizational, you know, this should go there and just it should look neat and tidy or whatever.
And they appreciated that.
I had never washed a car in my life.
Uh-huh.
This was a hand car wash and detailing. I had never done that in my life.
Right.
This was the second time I got a managerial position in a place that I had no experience whatsoever.
Right.
I was a foreman of a seal coating company before that.
Was it because of your military
The
background?
only reason I was hired for these jobs was because I had a military background.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, what was it? Careers. Just bring me up from
I
there.
spent a lot of years in the car wash business. I was good at it. So I found out that I was good at that because you've got a crew, you're leading a team. So a lot of the things that you learn in the military you can apply to that place, and communications was always a strong suit of mine, so I was good at sales. Eventually progressed to owning my own car wash, and then COVID kind of knocked me out of that, and then just started to kind of get myself rebuilt over the years subsequent. But I stayed in that industry. So I never did go into law and politics, even though that's what I studied for.
Oh, that's what you studied for?
I studied law. I studied politics.
Oh, I thought you said liberal arts.
Well, yeah, but the classes I took were all political science classes and law classes. I was fantastic in law class. I was taking constitutional law, real estate law. I mean, you name it. I was great. I was going to be a lawyer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Up to this, okay, so you did the car wash business for how many years?
I'm still doing it.
Still, okay, all right.
One way, shape, or form.
And so what is your other job now? You already mentioned it.
Right. So.
Can you talk about it or not?
Not yet.
You classified?
It's somewhat classified.
I understand.
Other than being in the Navy right now.
All right, so just let me ask you, is it administrative job or is it a mechanical job?
On the Navy side?
Yeah.
So on the Navy side, what I can talk about it. What I do is I reload ships with Tomahawk cruise missiles,
Oh, okay. All right.
which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
I'm gonna get. I'm in the process of receiving a license to drive everything under the sun, from forklifts to tractor trailers,
Wow.
crane operator,
On the road, everything, huh?
all that stuff. I'll be learning within 1 year, all paid for by Uncle Sam.
Nice. Nice. Do you get any certifications out of that? I would
Yes.
imagine, right?
Yes.
Licensing, you get licensing. Huh?
Licenses that can transfer over into the civilian world.
Right. And since we're in school and we have students, just off the top of your head, what kind of income could you derive from one of those types and kinds of jobs?
6 figures easily.
So that's over $100,000 a year.
So just for example, once you get the license to drive tractor trailers in the Navy, in the military, you bring it here. You don't have to go through the school. You have to pass the test still, but you don't have to go through the school. So that's a CDL license.
Right.
Now you can drive a tractor trailer. There are.
So when you still, in civilian life, I really don't know, that's what I'm asking you.
Right.
Would you still need to get that CDL in civilian life?
Absolutely.
You would still have to get that.
But you'd have to go through the whole school.
Right. So my question is, when you get done with your training,
Yeah.
if you decided to leave the Navy, what else would you have to do
I could
to qualify?
just go to take the test to get the license.
Gotcha.
Pay the fee. They'd probably waive the fee.
Yeah, but you
Probably
get
waive it.
Yeah.
And then, or a crane operator.
Mhm.
There are multiple ports all over Florida. And you can be a crane operator. Those are 6-figure salaries.
Right. Nice.
Or you can be a heavy equipment operator, which are also high paying.
And while we're at it, since we're on the school issue, how do you feel about recommending students for the military? Military life.
Everybody should go at least into the reserves, if not go active duty. I think everyone should try to go active duty if they can, because you're gonna do yourself a favor forever.
Have you already mentioned every place that you ever visited? I don't care whether it was civilian, military,
Oh.
R&R, business, whatever. Give us a short list, or a long one.
Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin, Massachusetts, California, Oklahoma, Florida, all over Florida, Japan, Australia, Mexico, Tijuana, right? Virginia, and the list will keep just growing and growing.
Gotcha. Okay, I just have a couple more questions for you. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes.
In what way?
A lot of times people have a very quick notion to go to war. At least that was my experience when I was in the 90s. We invaded Iraq. We had the first Gulf War, then we had another one, and there was a lot of support behind that. And but looking back in Afghanistan and everything else, I think that a lot of people, I would say the first Gulf War, that could be justified, maybe. The second one, not at all. People really got killed and hurt and all kinds of things in those wars. And we're proud of everybody that everybody is very proud of everyone that goes and participates and fights and all these things. But I think the government is too quick, and people in general, to support these decisions to go ahead and send troops into places like Afghanistan for 20 years. 20 years. And, or to Iraq, under, false pretenses. So it's one of those where I look and I say, listen, we are the best that America has. So don't waste us. That's where I look at it.
Gotcha. Really good. Very good. One more question. And then I'm going to see if either of my students have any questions. How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Positively. In every way. Okay, so when I was sitting on my porch, just hanging out, drinking brewskis and watching the day go by, and I wasn't really doing much, and I was just grateful that I could do that, and that's why I ended up joining the Marines, because I was just so proud and grateful. I felt very patriotic and grateful and all that other stuff, but I had no discipline. I had no inkling of what I was capable of at all. I had no education outside of high school. And so overall it affected me by, today I can, I can take care of myself in a way that I don't think I would have had I not joined the military. Physically, mentally, all that other stuff. I think I carry myself in a way that I wouldn't have if I had never joined the military.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else that do you feel like you might want to share with us that you have not mentioned?
Just that if you ever go into the military, just savor every moment of it. Realize that you're in a special place, and that just value yourself, take care of yourself, and you'll do great. Like I said, you'll do yourself a favor.
Okay. Either of you have any questions? Anybody?
Did you like it?
So when
He's back in it.
Right. So that's the thing. So that's just the thing. Is when I was in the Marines, oftentimes I didn't like it. I couldn't wait to get out. It's only later, looking back, that I realized that it was 100%, it wasn't the Marines, it wasn't the situation, it was my attitude. If I had a different attitude when I was in the Marines, I would have enjoyed the Marines and my job that much more. I had a poor attitude. So, listen, a few days ago I was standing in the pouring rain without a rain jacket. Okay, in Virginia, cold, standing there all day, and I was happy. In the Marines, I wouldn't have been happy in that situation. I'd have been complaining, oh, this is bullet BS and all that other stuff. Today, I'm happy to be in that situation because my attitude is different.
DeAndre? Good? We good? Well, look, I want to thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
And I also want to thank you for a wonderful interview.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.